Hello everybody, John here with Performance Plus Tennis. Should you have a pause in your serve? And this is a question that I've been recently getting. I did a review on Carlos Alcaraz's serve here on the channel. Check that out. But I've had a lot of questions about should you have a pause, because he does indeed have a pause on the serve. And that pause is often referred to as a hitch. So we're going to talk about the pause, the hitch, what you should and shouldn't be doing in today's lesson, and much more. And before we tear into today's lesson, I just want to be clear that there are so many different styles of serving. There's different tempos, there's different rhythms, there's different ball heights. And in general, what I try to do is provide advice that will help the majority of you get the right ideas on your serve, but there will always be variations. One variation that's really not ideal is having your racket stop in the wrong place in your swing. When we take a look at Carlos Alcaraz, he does have a little hitch in his swing, if you will, or a pause, if you want to call it a pause, just like Andy Roddick did. But the key thing is that the pause happens in the right area. And what I call that is like a loading pause. It's a stage in the serve where you place the ball up, and before you make your move, you have a little loading pause. And really, for me, I like to think of that as being a place in the serve where you feel like you get organized so that you can make a powerful coordinated movement onto the ball. Even Roger Federer had a pause in his serve. Now, a hitch is where the swing breaks in the wrong place in the serve. And we see that amongst amateur recreational players quite a bit, where the racket will come back and stop in the back and then go. Now that's obviously a pause or a hitch that we do not want. So if you're going to have a pause in your swing, it can be anywhere between this area here. It could be pausing here as you're tossing, and it could be anywhere in this area, here, here, here. But past here, you would never want a pause or a hitch in your swing, because once you get into this loading area here, once you make your move, the racket's going to fall and rise and swing naturally by itself. So be sure you're working on skills that are going to help you not have any kind of a hitch or pause in your swing beyond the trophy phase. But having a pause here as you're lining up the ball and loading in to go get it is perfectly acceptable. And it doesn't deplete your power at all. In fact, I think Andy Roddick would tell you that it actually helped him create more power, because he got into a position where he was coiled and loaded, and he was in a position where he felt like he could really rotate and generate a tremendous amount of power very, very efficiently. But he had that little hitch movement in there. So some servers do it, some servers don't do it. It's neither right nor wrong. What's wrong is having that hitch in the wrong area in your swing. If you're struggling with your service motion, you feel like you're pausing in the wrong area and you've got a hitch, or it's just generally not very efficient, some exercises you can do that will really help you. And just start out by throwing the ball. And when you throw the ball, you're not going to come back and stop your hand and have delays or pauses. You're going to make that hand move in one fluid motion. So this is just simulating my serve. And I'm just keeping my hand in motion. If you just do that repetitively, that's going to help build a muscle memory of a nice fluid motion. And then when you pick up the racket, you just imagine that it's a ball, but just obviously don't throw it, but just do the exact same thing. And just feel that once you make your move and the racket starts to fall, it follows you and it rises right away, and you get this nice throwing action. Okay? Now, there are reasons why sometimes we will have a hitch or a pause, and that's related to the timing or coordination of the swing in relation to the ball toss. So, for example, many servers who toss the ball too high will pause and wait, and they'll get stuck. And you can make adjustments to help compensate for that. That's probably the most common thing. The other thing that happens oftentimes with recreational players is we have this intention to put the racket behind our head. So we put it back here because we've been told to scratch our back. And then the racket pauses in our back because we're putting the racket here, tossing, and then hitting. And of course, that's a big no-no in terms of generating any kind of power or performance on your serve. So the solution to that is really delaying pulling the racket up and leading with the left hand. So oftentimes you'll see in today's game, the pros are leading with the left hand. They feel like they're placing the ball first and swinging the racket second. And it's that sequence that'll enable your swing to become much more natural and fluid and take any unintentional or poor hitches that are not helping your swing, remove those out of there. So this will help you a lot. Throwing and then feeling you place the ball first, swing the racket second. And you'll be surprised how your motion will start to become very natural and fluid without even thinking about it. The racket will fall and rise by itself. Some of you might be thinking, well, one way to get rid of the hitch or a pause in my swing is to toss the ball lower. So I take time away. And of course, that would definitely, force you to have a continuous swing. But at the same time, there's a whole host of problems that come along with that, that I have addressed in other videos here on the channel. And if you look at the majority of high performance players, 99% of them are not tossing the ball and hitting at the apex of their toss. They're tossing the ball 24 inches above the contact point for high performance reasons. Reasons of loading, pushing up with the legs, getting more height, more power on the ball. And it's something that all recreational players should be trying to do as well. So I wouldn't encourage you to have a lower toss to keep your motion going, because there's all kinds of problems that come with that. And I'm not a big fan of a low toss for many reasons, which you can check out here on the channel. And if you're a pinpoint server, you're more likely to have that pause, because there's a little window in time there when you've placed the ball up. And it's a little different for most players. And there are some servers like Casper Ruud and even Nick Kyrgios who do pinpoint, and they have a continuous motion and a low toss. But that's not the norm, okay? In most cases, the toss is going to be a little bit higher, and what's going to happen is they're going to toss the ball up. Once the ball leaves the hand, the back foot's going to come up, and there's going to be a little loading pause before they make their move on the ball. And that's extremely popular or common amongst WTA players and even some ATP players like Carlos Alcaraz. So if you're a pinpoint server, you're probably going to have that little loading pause in your serve, and that's perfectly okay. Thanks so much for watching today's lesson, and I hope that these concepts help you improve your serve performance. Be sure to check out the playlist here on the channel where I cover almost everything on the serve. And if you're looking to even dive deeper into your serve, click in the link in the description down below and get my free mini course to develop the 5 key principles you need to master to achieve your full potential on your serve. Please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments down below, share this video with a friend. Stay tuned, we have a lot more coming here at Performance Plus Tennis. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next lesson.